The Solo Show is brought to you, as always, by Victor Naraki Realtor, serving Disney in the greater Orlando area with CelebratingFlorida.com and DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com. Coming up on The Solo Show.
And then usually I'm staying at one of the Epcot resorts, or if I'm headed straight out via Uber, I will grab an Uber at the Boardwalk yacht, or maybe even. Yeah. But that's become a last thing for me all the time.
Stan welcomes Sam Maraccini from Sam's Disney Diaries on YouTube to the Solo Studios. Stan gives Sam the third degree as he asks 20 questions with Stan Solo. That's up right now on The Solo Show.
I'm Realtor Victor Naraki, and I specialize in living near Disney World. I work directly with you. I'm not a referral agent. A referral agent takes your name, takes your number, and then sells you to a random agent for a stake in that commission. When you call me, you get me, and I am there for you from the initial consultation through to closing and all the steps in between. You get me. Now, if you want to reach me, visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com for all my links, and you will get me.
And when you do get Victor, tell him The Solo Show sent you.
Hi, I'm C-3PO Human Cyborg Relations, and you are listening to The Solo Show.
Broadcasting from the Solo Studios, deep inside the Edible Mouse Ears factory, here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the center of North America, on this little planet we call Earth. This is The Solo Show. On this adventure, Stan welcomes Sam Maraccini from Womp Rat Radio and Sam's Disney Diaries YouTube channel to the guest host's chair. Sam is answering 20 questions with Stan Solo to find out how deep their common love of Disney goes. Can they stay friends? Will there be any Mickey bars shared? Stick around to find out. And now, I'm going to do something I never ever do and give away a spoiler from the show. Stan and Sam don't like the Star Wars themed restaurant. They find the burgers chewy. Here's Stan Solo.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Solo Show. I am Stan Solo as always, and joining me today I got Sam from Sam's Disney Diaries, and you got a new live show, Sam. Sam, welcome back to the show. How are you today, my friend?
Thank you, Mr. Solo, Stan Solo. Hello, how are you? Hello, audience. It is awesome to be back. Love to catch up with you and see what's happening because there's so many things happening, Stan. You and I are going different directions, lots of things going on, but at the end of the day, we love all things Disney, all things Muppet, things Star Wars, all of this stuff that's going on, and I appreciate you having me on, and thank you, Sam's Disney Diary at YouTube, of course, is the spot where you'll find all the good stuff, and samsdisneydiary.com, which, by the way, Stan, if you look there recently, you might find the latest Walt Disney World Christmas Day Parade from 2023. Just saying it might be on the website, not the YouTube. And, of course, YouTube Wednesday night live show this week at Walt Disney World. Lots of cool things happen.
Very cool. I'm glad your YouTube is on Wednesday night and mine's on Monday nights. We're not competing against each other.
Oh, I would never do that, dude. I would never do that.
I purposely took Monday because hardly anybody does Monday. That's why.
I can't do Mondays because in the U.S. Monday Night Football, I just can't do it for that much year. But that's all right.
All the Disney fans are available to watch because they're not into football as much.
I understand that. I understand that. Which, by the way, I know we're probably going to get there. But being at the D23 Ultimate Fan event this last couple of weekends ago, the one booth at the Expo Hall that never had a line, Stan, was ESPN. There was never a line for ESPN. They had the college football trophy in there. They had all this college football stuff. But clearly they missed their mark on the audience because the Disney and Star Wars and the fans that were there, the ESPN was like, okay.
Yeah, there you go. I rest my case. There we are. That proves it right there. But Monday's the best day to have a live show. So people that aren't watching football, come watch the Solo Show live on YouTube.
Absolutely. If I'm not at a game, I will be there.
All right, sounds good. We're going to do 20 questions with Sam from Sam.
Wait, there's going to be questions?
Diaries. 20 questions.
We were gonna talk for a while.
Well, we're going to do 20 questions. But before we do that, I got a quick sponsor I got to plug.
Of course.
And now a message from Cody's Inner Dialogue. Hey, Cody. Yeah, what's going on? What are you up to? I'm actually about to record a sponsorship message. Oh, really? Someone's actually paying you to sponsor the show? No. That's mean, by the way. No, but I'm recording a sponsorship message about being a fan of Disney the podcast, being a fan of Disney the book, being available on Amazon, and the prospectus files being available on Kindle Vella for the solo show. Or what? The solo show with Stan Solo. Stan Solo? Oh, his stuff's so much better. What? That's mean. You know what you need? You need confidence. How can I have confidence when you keep telling me how bad I am and how other people are that much better than me? Hey, what? I can't speak the truth? Come on. Good luck, by the way. Thanks.
It's Stan and Sam. They're two old friends just talking about stuff. Here's Sam.
There we are. So check out Being a Fan of Disney, the podcast.
Cool.
The book's available on Amazon, and the Perspective Files is available on Amazon Villa. So that's Cody Havard. I always have a hard time with.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Yeah. So Sam, let's get into these 20 questions because there's
Okay,
we
should
got
I
a
keep
lot
track?
to cover.
Question number one. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, Sam, I want people to know a little bit about you. So where are you originally from?
Originally from Western Pennsylvania, born and raised, and that's still where I am, believe it or not.
Oh, so you didn't have to travel too far to get where you are.
Not to get where I am, but I have to travel pretty far to get to Walt Disney World or Disneyland or any Disney thing because there's not much here, but, you know.
Tell me about it. You try living in Winnipeg.
I understand. I could.
How did you get into Disney?
Oh, what a great question, because it harkens back to childhood, right? To Mickey Mouse Clubhouse for me. I am a child of the 70s, 80s, and the original Mickey Mouse Club, reruns of the original Mickey Club, not watching it live. That was in the 50s. Right. But I mean, all of that is what led to a love of Disney, which ultimately took me to Disneyland Walt Disney World as a teenager when there was only Magic Kingdom and Epcot. And I was always a student of what made this happen? How does this work? How does this ride? How does this attract? How does this, whatever it is, work? And look behind it and try to get underneath it. And that led to, a love of technology and computers, and that's what I do for a living. So it all ties together.
Very cool. So you went as a teenager. You didn't go by yourself. I mean, obviously.
No. That was a family trip when I was a teenager. I had a younger sibling, and for years and years, I was told we can't go until they're old enough to remember the trip. Because look, I was of the type where it was a lifetime trip when I was young. I mean, I that's what my parents could do for me, and that's what they did for me. And it was a lifetime trip, and it started this love of Disney. And I am so fortunate now to be able to go more often, because it is a small world after all. Thank you, Richard Sherman and Robert. But that's the fascination that led me down, just as a child.
Okay, this isn't
wondering
question
how
number
they
three. This isn't question number 3. But so when was your second trip? Like, what got you going on a regular basis?
Oh, what got me going on a regular basis was later, having children and taking them when they were younger and seeing that magic in their eyes as youngster when, oh my gosh, that is Tinkerbell. Oh my gosh, that is Belle, or that is Mickey. Those realizations I never had because I wasn't there that young. So having multiple children, going multiple times, and being able to live through them and others that I've traveled with. Like, there's nothing better than going with somebody that's never seen it before and being able to experience walking through Main Street and around the corner to see Cinderella's castle with a youngster, girl or boy, that hasn't seen it before. It's like, oh my, that's Cinderella's castle, but that's the emotion that it brings to me and the others. I love reliving that, and I continue.
Very good. Very good. So you say you're into computers now. Did you ever have an odd job or a weird job in your past?
I either have a weird job in my past. Boy, there's been
odd job.
There've been lots of jobs, right? Whether it be grocery stores or whether it be restaurants, dishwash, things like that. I'd love to say that I had some kind of an odd job that had something to do with Disney, but I don't. I mean, it's just working through college, doing what I need to do, getting hooked up with technology, getting a degree in technology, starting as an accountant, believe it or not, and then realizing there's got to be something other that I can do, and getting into computers, which at the time there was one. Imagine this, being in an office building, and those of you listening that are in office know that everyone's got a laptop or the computer. It was in an office where there was one computer shared by 30 people, and that one computer drew me to it, and I started using Lotus 1-2-3. If you're old enough to remember, /file save, being able to do that stuff, and writing macros within Lotus, which would do all this stuff, and people would go like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did this. And that led me to the technology department of that company, which led me to finishing a bachelor's degree in computer science and moving on to computer engineering engineering and those kinds.
Very
but
cool. So
always having a
you were
love
the-
of Disney the whole time.
So you were the computer guy in the office. Very
That
cool.
was me. Some people still call me that, but I say my children are. They're the computer guy.
Yeah,
I'm the older guy now, but that's you and I both.
Okay, so you said you went to D23 Ultimate Fan Event
I did.
last month. What announcement that came out that you're the most excited for?
Oh, so many cool announcements. And I love how Disney leverages this to kind of package everything. And we talked about this briefly, but they have these 3 marquee events that happen, and they've always happened historically at D23. You and I have been at D23 before. This is a different one. It's sort of a new way of doing things. They have the big gatherings at the Honda Center, which is where the Anaheim Ducks play. So a huge facility, 12,000 people. And they broke it into the first night's all the entertainment announcements. So it's when we heard about Toy Story 5 and Incredibles 3 and you know, Mando and Grogu, although we already knew about some of that stuff. Then the second night, it's all about the park announcements. And we hear about Monsters Inc. and Villains Land and all of these new things coming to Disney parks everywhere. Nighttime parade. And the last night was the Legend ceremony, which to me is meh. The Legend ceremony is fine. It is what it is. I'll watch that later.
This one was great this year. You got Harrison Ford there, Frank Oz,
Harrison
John
Ford.
Williams
I
wasn't
agree
there,
with you.
but-
I completely agree with you. That's awesome, and they're wonderful. But to me, it's a whole bunch of people doing speeches, and it draws out a long time. And I'd rather be at the convention center on the expo hall. But
Fair
that
enough.
said,
Fair enough.
the Parks and Resorts is the best. That's the announcement.
Okay,
And
so
the
which
fact-
announcement from Parks and Resorts
I
then?
knew you were going to nail me down on it. And
The Shanghai roller coaster for Spider-Man.
looks awesome, looks amazing, looks incredible. I can't wait to see how they pull it off, where you see Spider-Man swinging around. I mean, is there an animatronic, or I'm assuming these screens are going to be going and he's going to be firing all over it. That'll be great. I think based on being at the expo, looking at all of the Imagineering that went into Zootopia in Shanghai and the details and all of the cool things they have, and then seeing that they're going to build the first monsters, the Monstropolis, right? To me, that was one of the coolest announcements, because there's only one of.
Yeah. Hopefully it's going to be an animation courtyard and not Muppet Courtyard.
You know, so they had their parts of, there was a model of the building, the show building.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
there's no way that show building fits in Muppet
No.
Vision. There's no way it fits. Now, here's where my head is on that, because everybody immediately thought that. And I'm going, there's no way. It doesn't fit that.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit. Somewhere somebody has a 5-year plan for Walt World and Disney Park and a 10-year plan, right? And probably a 15, even beyond that. And what they gave us was their 5-year. And that's exactly what Josh D'Amaro said. This is our 5-year plan. We're doing all of this. It's going to happen in the next 5 years. Here's models of what's coming to Animal Kingdom. Here's a model of the building that this Monsters ride is going to be in. Somewhere in the 15-year plan, I think if they ever do anything with Muppet, it's going to be extending Star Wars to link back into Star Trek and expand that whole which is why I don't think there's any shot that this takes. Now, all that said, I want a sushi restaurant inside the right?
Well, they could do. They're going to do a sushi restaurant. They have to.
They
Everybody's
have
saying
to.
it. Yeah.
Dude, they have to do a sushi restaurant. And like you had pointed out on Twitter, on X, and I had already done so, was the ice cream cones that those little kids were carrying around in that concept art. I'm going, what is that? I can't wait to get. Although they
The
look like
ice cream cone.
The ice cream cones looked phenomenal, amazing, little googly eyes that look like monsters.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
But yeah, there's lots of changes coming, and they're going to continue to happen. And I know people are in an uproar over, oh, you're going to take out Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island, but how many people do you think visit those?
Yeah.
And now compare that to a Villains Land, which, by the way, roller coaster in the concept art, restaurant in the concept art, you know, dragons in the concept art, and a Cars Road Rally Off-Road Challenge or whatever it's going to be. Those are going to draw thousands of people versus hundreds of people to Tom Sawyer Island. I mean, That's
No, I
the
agree.
reality.
Yeah,
That's
and
reality.
you know what? Cars Land is going to have a water worry. It's good. They're not removing all the water. They're still going to have a river there for sure.
No, look, when Mater showed up and was part of the presentation at the expo or at the Ultimate Fan, he was clear to say that I can't wait to run through the water and get muddy when I'm going around this thing. Clearly, there's still water.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome.
Which, by the way, it was awesome to have pre-recorded video from
Mater.
Larry the Cable Guy. That was
I see. I didn't see that video. I missed that video.
That was great.
Yeah,
Yeah. I got it's Sam's Disney Diary. Go find it up there. I got.
You know, I watched about half of that video that you posted. It's like 3 hours long.
It is. And by the
I watched
way,
about an hour and a half
that was
of it.
3 hours of me holding my phone as long as I could, hoping that the battery doesn't die because you were restricted on what you could take to that environment. Unlike prior years where I had my camera sitting on a tripod recording the thing. So it was a little bit different. And I knew that I couldn't do the music clips, right? There were really good entertainment things and like All For One singing and then, All For One, they're here because we got 4 new boats coming all at one time. I get it. Anyway, we're
gonna stick with D23 Ultimate Fan.
Okay. You said 20 questions. I think you asked me
floor.
2, even though you said 3. All right. As I walk the show
This is your second one. This is your second one for
okay.
As you're walking the showroom floor, what was the coolest thing you saw?
The Lucasfilms, the Void, right? Is it the Void? Is that what they call it?
Volume.
The volume was there, dude. The volume was there. I stepped inside of the volume. They took a video of me running up to an R5 droid and saying, "Hey, what's up, man? You're going to get the plans. Let's go." And then running away. That was a phenomenal. Now, back to what I talked about before. It was cool to walk inside it and feel like you're inside the environment. And then the camera swings around and you can now see how the background changes to reflect the camera, but yet you're interacting with it. Most interesting to me, Stan, was to walk around and see how all of those LED panels were connected to each other and the technology that went into and the computer, the rack of computers that all this stuff was connected to and the way that was fed into a command center that was driving the cameras. That to me was more fascinating than the front of it. The backstage was more interesting to me than the on stage in that particular.
The miles of cable that they had back there.
Everywhere. That was indeed phenomenal. Avatar was really cool too. Avatar, they had in there a puppet, right? That when Avatar Land coming to California. So when you see this huge Avatar pavilion, you're thinking, okay, something. And by the way, I had lost a bet because I thought there was going to be a new water park announced for California. But as it turns out, all of the water that was in the permits were for Avatar, the way of water, lots of water.
Oh, okay. That makes sense now.
Right. But I had thought it's a new water park, right? Because there's no water park in California. Maybe that's another gate. Maybe that's what they're going to do when they found.
I thought it was going to be a fire Avatar.
It's both. It's water and fire. There's both of those things happening, but there's lots of water and a boat ride. But there was new Banshee that will be available. So clearly they're going to come to Pandora in Florida. And there was a baby Banshee that was part of the presentation. And the way that the baby Banshee was operated looked and felt a lot like the original Figment, where there was an operator holding the baby Banshee and the baby Banshee's making all of its motions and movements, and I'm going, gosh darn it, why can't they bring Figment back? They're gonna do it with a dinosaur. Same thing, it's just not purple. Anyway.
Well, just
and of course, Imagineering was awesome. Imagineering was awesome.
Yeah.
That pavilion, I got lots of video inside of Imagineering because they had 15-minute presentations going on constantly. So they had the guys up there talking about the box droids from Galaxy's Edge and showing how they worked and interacting with them, doing some things with them. They had Imagineers up there. Lenny was up there, who recently got inducted into the Inventors Hall of Fame, talking about that, some of the things he's done in his journey and his career. Amazing. I recorded that. I'm going to throw that on the and then the last day, because of course Saturday night is the parks panel and you come back Sunday to the Imagineering panel, and that's when they have additional rooms. So now you can see a model of Animal Kingdom, and you can see the model of the Monster Coast. You can see a model of the Lion King land coming to Paris.
Yeah, Paris. Yeah.
All that was hidden, and it's like, oh my gosh, here it is. These are all the announcements. It's so cool, and it's a limited time. But I can keep going.
Okay, let's give you a softball here. What's your favorite park?
Epcot.
Okay, how come?
Because it's unlike any other park that you've ever been in, and I'm even talking current, right? With how that they've reimagined and essentially replaced the hub of this park over the last 4 years through a pandemic and turned it into this World Celebration Garden that is one of the most welcoming places that I've ever been inside of a Disney park. It's phenomenal. It's beautiful. The music all around the front of this park ties it all together, but it's unlike any other park that you've experienced. That's why I love Epcot. It's the culture, it's World Showcase, World Celebration, World Nature. It's all of these things tied together. And the interesting part is Stan, that if I go back to that first trip I made as a teenager, I hated Epcot. I couldn't wait to get back to Magic Kingdom. I was just going in 1984. I'm going, where's the rides? Get me out of here. This is horrible. I just, and it's weird how the whole thing changes circle, because I think Epcot is phenomenal. And when they've added some of these attractions that are in there now with Guardians and Remy and it's Soarin', it's amazing. New test track coming very soon, reimagined. One of the only, there were a couple of things that were missing from Expo and announcements, and one was the play pit that they're going to do with. I guess we just ignore that for now. But is what it is.
Have you done any Disney cruises?
I have. Yes.
Which ships have you been on?
I've been on the Magic. I've been on the Wonder. I've been on Wish.
Very cool.
Yes.
So Fantasy is one you're missing.
I have not been on Fantasy.
Have you visited any other parks around the world?
Only the North American park. Only Disneyland and Disney World. Bucket list for sure. Would love to get to them. I would say Tokyo Disney Sea is top of that list, just because you hear how unique it is, different it is. Love to get to Tokyo.
That was my next question. Number one bucket list item. So there you go.
Yes, Tokyo Disney Sea. Absolutely.
What is your favorite Disney tip to give somebody who's never been before?
Disney World or Disneyland?
Let's go World.
Let's go World. Favorite tip to give somebody that when I get the questions all the time, and anyone listening to this right now is a Disney fan, and they get the question, hey, I'm going to Orlando, what should I do? Well, the first thing I ask them are you going to Orlando or are you going to Disney? And by the way, more and more we're going to Orlando because of what Universal's doing street. Either way, because I will make sure if you're going to Disney, stay in a Disney resort, get inside that bubble part of it. And in doing so, you can't open and close the park as much as you want. You gotta pace.
If you're younger, you can. I think
you can. Well, we can't, and young kids can't. Maybe more.
Yeah, but I think if you're in your 20s,
right? But if you're in your 20s or early 30s and you have a baby, you're gonna run into issues.
Yeah.
So pace yourself, enjoy it, and that's where my tips usually are. Book yourself one sit down a day to eat so that you can get in the cool. And try not to overdo it, because it can be overwhelming. Going in the first time, it can be over. So give yourself time. You're not going to do I'm going to go to Disney World in 4 days. I'm going to go to each park one day. Or you won't be disappointed, but there are going to be things that you're not going to be able to get.
I mean, if you take a break in a day, like my first time I went, actually the first 2 times I went, my daughter was 16 and 17. The two we went back to back 2 years in a row. So we did rope drop till like this. They were already at
that age. You might be able to do it. Sure,
telling us hey, dude, we're closed. Like it's time for you to go.
That makes for a tough next day, though, doesn't it? You can't do that every day, like 5 days in a row.
At that age, we could. We could.
All right.
Yeah. But I couldn't do it now. No. That was those days are gone.
Well, but you also don't need to, right? If you went to Paris or Tokyo Disneyland or Shanghai, maybe we could try to do it, right?
Well, you know what? I went to
We're
Paris
here for 3 days. Let's go.
And I did it for 4 days in a row in Paris last year. I didn't go back to my room, and I watched the fireworks and I rope dropped. Yeah.
So you proved yourself wrong, because you had that adrenaline going, and you're like, I'm gonna do this. I'm here. I'm not gonna be back, or it's gonna be alone before I'm back.
That's true.
So I understand that. Yeah.
Favorite old school attraction?
World of Motion.
Okay.
World of Motion. Love that whimsical look at history. Love the soundtrack. Hope that new test track is going to bring some of those elements back. They're hinting to that, but who knows? But I was always a World of Motion fan, and I'll even say that over the original. I like World of Motion.
Wow, okay.
Just was cool.
So what's your favorite new school attraction? I'm talking like soaring up.
Part of me wants to say it's the Rise of Resistance, right? Just because it's such an elaborate ride. But unfortunately, it's not up a lot. You know that better than any. And because of that, Guardians, really cool. Cosmic Rewind, great attract. So it's probably a toss-up between Cosmic Rewind and Rise of Resistance.
So when Rise of Resistance was brand new and it was working, and
it was awesome, and everything was in
Yeah.
A mode, and the turrets would kick back when they shot, and you'd have to go between them. Now you go in there, and it goes forward, and it moves backwards, and
for no reason.
wondering, why are we moving backwards, right? But there's things. It's almost like being on the Yeti. I was on the Yeti for annual pass holder previews back in 2009, and the Expedition to Everest Yeti was amazing. It was awesome. And now you go in there and go, yeah, I remember when that.
Yeah, we need to start a hashtag fix the turrets.
Hashtag,
Never mind the Yeti.
What? I
Fix
like
the
that.
turrets.
Fix the Yeti was big. The Deadpool thing that they did during the Parks panel was really funny, and they poked fun at themselves, and Fix the Yeti was a big part of that. It was funny, especially with Joe Rohde being a legend. It's even funnier.
Yeah. What's your Disney dream job if you were to work at Disney World or Disneyland?
That's a great question, because there's part of me that are like, oh my gosh, I want to be an Imagineer. I want to do those things. But then there's also part of me that just wants to experience the park, be one of those cast members that brings, and whether it's, man, I want to ride the train around, or I want to be a monorail operator, I want one of the friendships. I just think that would be cool, and it's a reality. It could happen. Or do you want to be a ride operator, right? Yeah. Or right? Do you want to be at the Magic Kingdom, or maybe Rise of Resistance being on the Star District? That could be. Yeah, cool. I could see doing that. So somewhere where I can bring that little bit of that magic, because cast members are the magic. We all know
for sure.
So
just take Josh tomorrow's job.
That would be the job you want, but
what's your favorite Disney movie?
Wow. I'm going to go with traditional, because is it Pixar? Is it Lucas? Is it Disney?
Marvel.
Boy, there's so many to pick from, but if you ask me what my favorite Star Wars movie was, I would say The Empire Strikes Back, because it's so much different than Star Wars. And I can remember driving to the movie theater to see it, and my dad saying, it's going to be just like Rocky. There's going to be another big star, and they're going to blow it up, and it's going to be the same. Well, he was right, but that didn't happen until The Force Awakens a long time ago. But you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well,
The Empire Strikes Back, it was nothing like it. But if we're talking traditional Disney, the ones that I remember seeing in the theaters on re-release, not original, are 101 Dalmatians, Winnie the Pooh, and those are the ones that I remember. But Toy Story, I think, is an amazing movie. There are so many great Disney movies, Stan, that I'm not even sure how to answer that. There's none that jumps out other than Star Wars is awesome, of course. Yeah. And when I say Star Wars, I mean Star Wars, not Episode 4, A New Hope. Star Wars.
You mean like the whole collection?
No, the first movie that was released in 1977 in its original state. That's what I mean. But sorry, there's a couple of questions I answered without answering.
It's hard to pick. I mean, what's your favorite Disney? I'm not going to ask you this.
What's your favorite Disney song? What's your favorite movie? I mean, maybe it's the Muppet movie. Is that Disney?
Man, Muppet movie's good.
Muppet movie is amazing. It's
I have to go
Empire.
I have to go Empire Strikes Back.
Right. So that's Empire Strikes Back and Muppet movie. You said what two movies sum up yourself? That was a question that was in one of the panels. I forget where, but one of the interview panels that happened during the expo, they asked the people sitting on the panel, what two movies best sums up you and your personality? And I'm immediately, it's Star Wars and the Muppet movie. I mean, that's me. It's goofy and yet sci-fi, and those two things linked together. You're probably not far from that.
Yeah. And if you want to do animation, I got to go with Snow White when it started at all.
The original.
For anime.
Nothing wrong with Snow White at all.
Okay, I'm making you an Imagineer. That's what you want it to be. Which attraction are you making?
Which attraction am I making?
And where are you putting this thing?
What am I doing? Oh my! What attraction am I making? Oh, Stan. Well, I want to do something with the Star. Let's start that right now. That was something I hoped to hear about. I wanted to hear an announcement about that at Expo. They completely overlooked. Having been inside of the Star Cruise, I would pay money to go to Batuu in Hollywood Studios and be transported to a dinner show at that facility and then transported back. That's how awesome it is just to go for dinner, right? 2 hours. Yeah. Take me, scoop me out of there and out for dinner and bring me back. That would be awesome. But to build,
that would be awesome. That'd be so awesome.
And I think it's easy. All they got to do is, put a wall in front of where all the rooms were, and you go in, and there's a gift shop, and there's a bar, and then there's a restaurant. What property would I want to bring in?
Doesn't have to be a property. You could be an original.
Yeah, but I'm thinking as an Imagineer, they're all talking about IP. What IP are you going to bring into the park? I think there are dark ride possibilities across the board that I think, whether it's a Mary Poppins dark ride, which we were not going to get in England, and it was going to be something different. I think that could be amazing. You know, I'd I want to say a great movie ride that's relevant, but that
you know what? That's not a bad answer, really.
a great movie ride that's relevant with Disney property could be really, really cool.
Yeah.
We have Roger Rabbit in California. Oh my gosh, you're putting me on the spot with that, because we have our Star Wars things. You know, a pod racer type of a thing would be really cool, but is that just a simulator? I don't know.
Big test track and pod racer.
That could be cool.
That'd be cool.
I think, you know, the more and more you look at what Disney's doing, more big coasters and thrill rides are coming into their parks in Florida, and they need to do that. That's why that concept art for Villains Land had that coaster kind of zooming that.
Yeah. Unfortunate for me, that's what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Well, you know,
but
have you ridden
I look
Tron?
at it this way.
Have you ridden Tron?
No, there's no way in the world I'm doing.
Not just because
I look
of the
at it this way,
coaster,
though. Tron could eat 800 people or 1,000 people, however many people it holds.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Else. That's how I look at it.
I wasn't sure if you'd sit in that back car that
no.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure.
I did Seven Dwarfs. That's about the extent.
The Seven Dwarfs is cute.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with Seven Dwarfs.
I like the great movie ride
idea.
idea. I like the great movie ride idea. I think you got something.
Make it relevant.
Yeah.
But I love these, you know, Hollywood Studios, which was behind the stage pass to the movie, the Hollywood that never was and always will be. Let's go backstage and watch how they make movies. Now you're stepping in, right? That's what Batu is. That's what Toy Story Land is. That's what Monsters is going to be. I look at Hollywood Studios and I see the two properties at the end of Sunset Boulevard in Aerosmith and the Tower of Terror. Those are the only two properties that are not owned by Disney that are in a Disney park anywhere. And you know it kills them to write those royalty checks to Twilight Zone and Aerosmith.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere someone's reimagining what those are going to be in that 10 years.
Well, just make Aerosmith Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem.
You know what,
Problem
dude?
solved.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. That could be so
I might go on that. I'll get
that
sick
could
for
be
3
so
days.
cool. Make those limos look like the bus. Oh my gosh. That would be great, Stan.
After the Dr. Teeth painted them.
That would be great. There are definitely lots of possibilities. I balked on the answer. We'll use a good movie ride. But because it's not original. I didn't give that one needs a little bit of thought. What ride are you making?
Yeah.
Is it a roller coaster? Yeah. Is it a hanging coaster? Is it? We're getting that in.
Well, we got that new technology with those moving floors. Do something with that.
Yes, that's what Lenny was talking about. That could be interesting. Yeah. It looks like that's going to be mostly for augmented reality, or put the headsets on and be in a virtual world. Then you can run and you're not really moving it. It's interesting, but
I'm thinking that might be used in the Coco House in Animal Kingdom.
Possible. Yeah,
because you got the furniture moving around. They could have the people like just going. Then you in the remember in the movie all the tiles move around and everything.
I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah, so you can have stuff like that where you're sitting in a chair almost, and it goes forward and it goes sideways all of a sudden, and you know. Yeah,
that could be cool if they use that as almost a ride system for moving. Yeah, it's cool. All right,
alrighty. Favorite snack on property?
Give me a bucket of popcorn on Main Street US Day any day. I will sit and watch people and eat that in the hub, in the hub or probably up in the front. And looking for those people walking around the corner for the first time. That's where and I'm good with that. And by the way, you could swap it with a churro or with any pretzel. Mickey. Just good old fashioned corn on Main Street.
Yeah. I think popcorn's that's definitely I spend the most money on for snacks.
Especially with a bucket. California, I got my Jabba bucket and I got my Hatbox Ghost sipper. I don't know what to do with them, but I got them both now.
I got them all over the floor in my basement.
You got the Jabba the Hutt?
No popcorn buckets and sippers. You walk in, it's just you're kicking buckets around as you're walking around.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I do.
Favorite quick service restaurant on property?
We're talking restaurant, not like a snack counter. We're talking quick serve restaurant. You know, this is I'm gonna say Docking Bay 7. Give me a Ronto wrap and a Rebel log. I like me that. Both of those. Two. I will do that once per trip. My other go-to, typically it's the last day and the last thing that and I'm leaving Epcot through the International Gateway, and I'm always getting my fish and chips before I leave.
I was gonna say fish and chips
because the fish and chips I'll grab And then usually I'm staying at one of the Epcot resorts, or if I'm headed straight out via Uber, I will grab an Uber at the boardwalk yacht, or maybe even.
Yeah.
But that's become a last thing for me all the time. It's fishing.
All right, if I'm asking you quick service, and I'm going to ask you this: favorite table service?
Favorite table service. There are some really good ones. Look, if it's the wife and I, and we're there for a special occasion, I absolutely love the yacht. The Yachtsman is a hidden gem. It is the only certified butcher on property, Disney, outside of Shula's. Shula's is in the Swan and Dolphin, but they do their dry age right in the Yachtsman, and they will show you it and tour the kitchen and give you those goods. And they also have what I think is the best salad. It's the garden green salad, where everything comes from living with. Love that. Love it.
Very cool.
So that's my
I didn't
favorite.
realize that.
Yes, that's my favorite fancy, like sit down, me and the wife. Other sit down restaurants, you can pick anyone in Hollywood. I think they're great. Mama Melrose, Sci-Fi, or 50. Not sold completely on Toy Story. It's awesome. It's great. It's barbecue go. You're going to see the characters and all that stuff. But I'm not that sold on it.
You also got Brown Derby there too.
The Brown Derby, yeah. Brown Derby for lunch. Oh my gosh, the burger at the Brown Derby is the best burger on Disney property.
Yep.
Another spot that I'd throw out that doesn't get a lot of love, but is always available, Nine Dragons.
Yeah.
Never gets love. No, everyone gives it a bad rap. I think it's great. Food is awesome. There's never a line. The service is incredible. I like Nine Dragons.
Yeah. No, I enjoy Nine Dragons also. I've only been there once, but
and it's easy to get into, dude. It's always available. Even when
actually it was kind of like a last minute thing. Like, where do you guys want to eat? And I go, I've never eaten at Nine Dragons before. Let's go there. And I go, okay, let's go.
And you got right in. Yeah.
Got right in. Yeah.
And you got right in, and you sat down, and you're like, oh, this is good.
This is during Food Festival of the Arts yet. This is like a packed park.
Yeah. Food and wine coming. Ooh, yeah.
All right. You're going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party.
Okay.
What's your costume?
So that's going to depend if I'm with a group of people or not, right? Because if we're in a group,
you go with a group. You're going with a group.
You go with a group, you can do some really cool, right? I'm good with being, without a mask, it's tougher, right? Because adults and that stuff, but I'm good with being a stormtrooper. I'm good with being Darth Vader. It can be hot to be those kind of things. I'm also good with a Dapper Dan, right? That's cool. I got no problem with that. You get 3 other guys. The stand, you pick whatever color stripes you want. I'll take whatever one's left. It doesn't matter to me if it's green or purple or yellow or red. I don't. That's a good question.
We got to do Dapper Dan's costumes at Mickey's Not So Scary.
Dapper Dan's are great. Or you and I would make a good Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Let's be honest.
Who's whom?
I don't know that it matters.
Doesn't matter. We just, when they ask you, you go, we both shake. I don't know.
Exactly. I don't know.
Who do you think
we would do that well?
Okay, you know what? We're near the end. Last question.
What? No, that's not 20 or
20 questions.
Okay.
You're doing great on time here. You're going karaoke night. What's your go-to karaoke song?
So karaoke night, we're going over to the sushi restaurant in the Swan and Dolphin. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I haven't done. I didn't know they even had that.
There is in the Swan. There is a karaoke restaurant, and if it's a sushi place in the Swan, I'm blanking on the name of it. But when you walk into the Swan, to your left is Il Molino, and to your right is the Garden Grove, which is where the character dining is, and it's tucked in on the right-hand side there. And there is a karaoke restaurant. And if there's a conference in town, it can get really, really funny, by the way. And there's no cover charge, and the sushi's pretty good. It can get funny. That's a good question. Let's go Sweet Caroline or something like that.
Okay.
That's what I'll do. Sure.
Get the whole audience involved.
Or that, or Margaritaville. So good. So good.
Yeah.
Well, that's the wrong song. Lost Sacred Salt. That's what it meant.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Sweet Caroline is so
good. So yeah, very cool. Thank you for coming on. Sam'sDisneyDiary.com is where you go to get all the information if you want to hear about Sam.
All that good stuff. And I appreciate that. Thanks for having me, Stan. There's so much more we could talk about. Look, I even have my map from the expo, all the stuff that's going on. The marketplace was huge this year, my friend. Holy cow. That Star Speeder 1000
the $300 one?
That dude, it had a screen in it that was the attraction. It opened up, it had lights, and wow. $300 sold out. $500 on eBay.
It's sold out. I didn't. Wow. Okay.
It's sold out. I don't know if you noticed, the DisneyStore.com had a lot of that merchandise available that was at the market. There was a lot of Mary Poppins 70th merchandise like that. It was listed, but listed as sold out. The Star Speeder.
Okay. I wanted to get that Muppet coffee mug. That was the thing I wanted to get.
I missed the Muppet coffee mug. I did.
They probably sold out. I like the last expo. The Muppet stuff sold out like day 1, day 2. Like I went, the only thing I could get was a cup.
Muppet Studios. I remember they had a bunch of Muppet Studio stuff. Now that you,
the T-shirts, all they had were smalls. By the time I got to go in there, they had a hat that I really wanted to get. The hat was sold out, like a baseball hat. And they had like, come on, Disney, Muppet stuff is selling. Give us more. Like
Muppet stuff is selling. So maybe that's back to the what attraction. Maybe there's a Muppet attraction that isn't just a movie.
What they need to do is just make Animal Kingdom based on animal. don't have to change the name.
So let's Imagineer this together. The Muppet attraction that we're going to bring into Hollywood next to Muppet. Is this a dark ride? Is it I want to say it's a trackless ride system, and we're starting in the scene.
No screens. We're not doing screens. It's all going to be prop. That's
animatronic. Yeah. Well, I'm good with like Remy, a mix between actuals and then some screens.
No. We want actual Muppet looking Muppets.
You want animatronics that look like Muppets.
Interacting with us. Yeah, not Kermit on a screen.
I want to start with the bicycle scene, and we're ending with Rainbow Connection, clearly. And what happens in between, like every Disney attraction, there is something that goes wrong. Mm-hmm. That causes us to need to. It's the hero's journey, right? Which, by the way, Disney's all about storytelling. The hero's journey. You start out as a person, something bad happens. At the end of it, you're better off because of it, right? Well, whatever bad happens has to have been initiated by animals somewhere. I don't know what it is or where it is, but it could be a matter of an electric mayhem bus coming out of which somehow interferes with our bicycle route, which sets us careening off into some sort of Doc Hopper type situation where all of a sudden now Kermit's being. I can come up with a lot of things there. Somewhere pigs in space are hanging out. I don't know where yet, but we're going to get to them. The Monominoms are around the corner. Yeah. And dude, this is getting good. Gonzo's backstory comes in. We get a little more Floyd Pepper because you got to love some pepper. Mm-hmm. We can brainstorm.
That's it. We're doing a Muppets Dark Ride.
We're doing a Muppets Dark Ride. Well, I'm even thinking the technology that's in Rise of Resistance, where at the end of it you go into that escape pod and it drops you. Mm-hmm. There's got to be some way that within the Muppets we can ride up something with the bicycle, and you get to somewhere and you're going to get dropped.
Oh, okay. I thought we were watching the bicycles go by.
No, we're going with them.
They're next to us.
No, we're riding in some Studebaker, but the bicycles are next to us, and we're sort of riding along with them, going up the thing. Think the beginning of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, right? They're in that little car thing, except on our right-hand side, there's Piggy and Kermit pedaling a bicycle right next to us, and they're going up, and they're having a conversation about something, and then out of nowhere comes the Electric Mayhem bus, and the bus, I don't know what happens, messes up the road, and we fall, and we end up in the Kermit's being chased by Doc Hopper, and I'm going to be thinking about this one tonight, buddy.
I'll be happy with a Sweetums meet and greet.
Sweetums meet and greet would be cool. Yeah, Sweetums is clearly in it. The Penguins could be in it. We need a band. Yeah. It's an orchestra of penguins.
I don't know why they don't have a Sweetums meet and greet, but come on, Disney.
They had, so one of those early, well, when my oldest was young, mid-90s, they had the full-size Kermit and Piggy meet.
Yeah. Well, they had the Constantine one from when Muppets Most Wanted came out.
I never saw the Constantine.
Yeah, he was like behind bars, and the guy was there 8 hours a day was the actual puppeteer that did Constantine in the movie.
Wow, where was that? Was it in Muppets Courtyard or was it somewhere else?
Yeah, somewhere in Muppets Courtyard they had it.
That's super cool.
Yeah,
that's super
cool. If they ever do refurbishments and they shut down the Muppet Theater, they should automatically have a suite in front. The line would go around the courtyard.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be awesome. I would be one of the people. I think if there's a 10-year plan for Hollywood Studios, I don't know that the Muppets are still on it.
Yeah,
but I do think this Monstropolis is too big to fit there. It's going to go back in Muppet Courtyard or in Launch Bay. I'm surprised that we didn't hear about a Bluey thing coming into Disney Junior. I really thought we were going to hear about Bluey off on that building on the right, which, by the way, that Good.
I think that's going to be your sushi restaurant and more Monster stuff.
It's possible because there's a kitchen there, right? I was
Yeah.
just going to say that's the same building that is Brown Derby.
Brown Derby.
And then the building on the left, which is Little Mermaid, we know that's going to be reopening, so they're not going to touch that.
Isn't there a gift store right there also?
There's a gift store next to it that has been closed, and then right around the corner of that is the exit from One Man's Dream, from that theater, and a restroom. But that restroom and the building that is Launch Bay, that entire building, I think, is what gets raided, taken, and that's where Monstropolis back there, or at least that's the entrance into it. Because if you're going to take that building out, there's a parking garage in the back, there's some administrative buildings and some backlot things that can all be relocated or moved or torn down, which essentially opens up that area all the way to Rock and Roller. There's a lot of space back there.
Oh yeah.
And that's where this Monstropolis is going to go. Now, how it's positioned, I don't know. Are you going to walk in there and it's going to be to the left? Are you going to look straight at it? Are they going to open up a path back towards to make it a full circle all the way around to Rock and Roller Coaster? I don't know. That's what, because remember, dude, for a long time we heard about. Good.
I think where the animation building is, those offices are half empty.
Yes.
And if you want to do something with the Star Cruiser, well, make those rooms offices.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm with you. The people there.
I really wanted to. So look, here's something that I want to do with you, D23, in 2 years, whenever it is. Which, by the way, they didn't tell us again. They didn't give us any dates.
Yeah, it'll be 2 years.
It'll be 2 years. Then, by the way, 2 years after that is the Olympics in Los Angeles, and I don't think it'll be the same time. They're going to.
They can't be
the same time. No, because the
they did the same time as the Olympics this year.
Yeah, but the Olympics were in Paris. No.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I couldn't go to D23. I was watching the Olympics.
Oh, there you go. That is going to be interesting in 2 years. What I want to do, where I was going, I want to do a bingo of announcements because you can fill your own out. Give me your bingo, right? Because I would have had Nighttime Parade from Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
I would not have had Monstropolis. I would have had an announcement for the Star Cruise. I would have had an announcement for the Play Pavilion. I would not have gotten. I would have had Villains Land probably.
Yeah, I would have had a drone show. That didn't happen.
Which we didn't get. It didn't. But one of the events that I went to, one of the breakout sessions, which, by the way, YouTube, Sam's Disney Diary, you're going to find a bunch of breakout sessions. I just posted Donald Duck's 90th birthday. I'm working on the Nighttime Spectaculars right now, and in the Nighttime Spectaculars, dude, in Paris, they showed, and you might have seen this, I don't know. It's a projection show on the Tower of Terror over there, Captain America. And Captain America throws his sword off of the projection, and it seamlessly becomes drones in the sky. It was
his sword or his shield?
His shield. I'm sorry, his shield. He throws his shield, and it becomes this thing in the sky, and I'm going, that is gorgeous. And we saw parts of that in the concept art that they had for the new Nighttime Spectacular overseas somewhere. I'm like, man, they're getting drones, but we're not. What's happening?
The Paris drone shows are unbelievable. They are coolest.
Come on, Disney World, step it up. Get us some drones.
They got it at Disney Springs.
Yeah, but that's over in a couple of weeks.
They'll keep it.
I hope a Christmas version comes.
Yeah. They'll
that's where it started, right? There was a Christmas version.
Well, that Christmas one was a joke.
Well, it was also early on, and it was only 300.
Yeah.
Right, and it was Intel-based drones, and it was
Yeah. I mean, the ones at Paris now, they're shooting smokes off the drones. They got like the train going with smoke coming off the drones to make it look like smoke coming out of the train stack.
So cool, dude.
They got fireworks shooting off these drones as they're in the air. Like, it's crazy, this stuff.
Amazing. All right. I could keep talking.
Yeah. All righty. We're going to call this a show. Ken, take it away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us your idea for the show, and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. All logos, sounds, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned solely by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be, the ownership of The Solo Show podcast. We hope you'll join us for the next adventure on The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.